What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. Uh, you know, if you're listening on iTunes, Omni Studio, and if you're watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe, and we're gonna run down the Premier League table. It's tight at the top. It's tight right under the top. It's tight in the middle top. It's tight under the middle top, and it's tight at the end. So let's just see where everybody's at this point of the season. We definitely gonna talk about Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Man City, and who they beat upon. Kevin De Bruyne went off. Tottenham, handling their business. So yeah, we got the usual suspect, Lee Hudson, stand-up comic from England, Southampton fan. We're gonna find out how Southampton was doing this weekend. They've been bigging up McKenna and Ipswich. I think they're at the top of the table, but you'll let me know what that championship do, when we get to that section. So what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm all good. Just got back from watching Tim Dillon at the Royal Albert Hall.
Shit.
Making big moves.
That's so funny because Tim Dillon is such a wild guy, and the Royal Albert Hall seems like the most proper place. Is that like your city music hall?
A little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's like a MTV announcer duo, no, like award presenter duo. Two things that shouldn't go together are together. How was he? And how was the night?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, really good show, really good hour. Yeah, it was a fun show.
I wonder how much of Tim's hour is like stuff that's just coming out of his head at the moment, or stuff that he wrote and he's just making it sound like he came out of his head in the moment, or how much of some of it's like, this is set material and I just thought of this. It's just so versatile, like as far as like athletically, like lyrically athletic. I feel like he just can go in any direction based on how he feels at the moment, and just
there was a bunch of material like about like current events from the last sort of 6 months to a year, and like he did like some riffing about London as well, which was quite good. So yeah, he was on good form.
Yeah, Tim's funny, man. So let's start at the top of the table, because we haven't done this in a while. We haven't seen where everybody's at. Like, we talk about the league standings, we talk about games mostly. And so I'm looking at, the results on my phone. I see Arsenal at the top of the table with 71 points. And, you're welcome, Arsenal, for you being at the top of the table, because Man United kind of helped you out to get to where you are. Now, don't forget how you got to where you at. You know what I'm saying? Arsenal fans who are happy that they're top of the table, based on goal difference today. And let me go back just to see who Arsenal played this weekend. They played right. Yeah. And Brighton's not an easy team to beat. It's a De Zerbi team. De Zerbi's one of the best coaches in the league. Brighton got a lot of injuries, so that kind of helped Arsenal out. But the one thing that was impressive about Arsenal is, like, now their team they have extra players. You know what I mean? Like, Jorginho started this game. They can rest people, and Havertz is in there and he's being effective. He's not scoring like when they're 4 up. He chips in with the 5th one. He's actually scoring goals that mean something. So that's good. Gabriel Jesus is back. So then they could throw on Trossard, who did score later. So they have some depth. It's the end of the season. They're in like another 2 competitions, or are they in another one? They're not in the FA Cup, and the Carling Cup is gone. So they're in Champions League, and they in the Premier League race, and they have depth They got Partey back. Tomiyasu. Like they're giving people like Arteta's giving people like playing time so that when he needs them in a time crunch, they're not like rusty. Something I wish
Yeah.
Ten Hag would do more. But yeah, they beat Brighton, deserving team, 3-0. What do you think about this result and Arsenal being at the top of the table?
Arsenal are just really consistent right now. This is an impressive result given, that Brighton are such a tough team to play against when they're on it. Like, Liverpool went behind against them last week. But yeah, like Arsenal made fairly light work of it. Raya, I remember putting off one good save, but they got the penalty, maybe a little bit fortunate. Lamptey got a bit of the ball, but he did chop him down as well, Jesus. So yeah, I think a little bit fortunate to get that, but Saka put it away, and then, like you say, Havertz popped up with a goal, and he's doing that more regularly now for them in the important moments, and then Trossard just put the icing on the cake, and I'm sure he enjoyed that one, given that he left under a cloud when De Zerbi came in with a bit of friction there. So you just saw when he didn't celebrate fully, but he just sort of stood there with his arms out, like emotionless on the face, just like,
Like
yeah, okay.
Gladiator. Am I
Yeah.
not entertaining? Should have kept me. But yeah, like people are saying that Lamptey got some of that ball. And I know Gabriel Jesus is a diver. Like he treats the whole pitch like it's a swimming pool. He'll go down anytime, but he'll foul people and be shocked when they go down. But if you graze the hair on his arm, he'll act like he was just axed. But I do think that was a penalty. Like of all his dives, that was the least divey of all his dives. So he caught him enough. Like you, I think Lamptey gave him too much in that one, and it was early too, right? It was like, when was that in the game? And it just and Brighton hasn't felt like Brighton in a minute. You know, they just haven't like been as difficult as they are to perform against as they were in the beginning of the season, or definitely not last year. They sold a lot of key players. It feels like, they're the airport for players to fly to better teams. It, so it's this season it's giving that type of vibe. So, you don't make your home in an airport. You're just there for your layover until you go up or down. So I feel like
Yeah.
it's just tough, It's just tough so De Zerbi needs to. He's made a name for himself, so he needs to go somewhere where they're buying to keep players instead of they're buying to make a profit out of them, and see what he can really do as a legit coach. So yeah, so Arsenal top of the league. How the Arsenal fans feel in England right now?
I
Are they
think they've got like
cocky?
the ones I know have got like a quiet confidence about them. Like I can sense that they're excited and that they feel like they've found a bit of extra resilience, a bit of extra consistency
Mm-hmm.
this season. From like the results against City, where they went and got the draw the other week and beating them at home earlier in the season. Um, and obviously they're just putting the wins together right now. And obviously Liverpool slipped up as well this week. So
But they
it's
didn't really slip up. They got handled a little bit, but we'll get to that.
um, but yeah, so I think they're just like the ones I know, they're quietly confident, but they know it's Arsenal still, so they're not getting like too
Right.
carried away. But I know too many rational Arsenal fans. I don't know what Arsenal fan TV's saying. They're probably
Uh-huh.
saying they're the greatest team in the world and that they're going to win everything. And I don't know. The ones I know are too rational though. I can sense they're confident, but they're not one.
Right.
They don't really want to say it out loud.
They don't want to walk around with a trophy like Joel from 5 at 5 did for half the
Yeah.
season last year until everything crumbled apart. They don't want to do that. Yeah, I get that. Like, dude, you got to be a little gun shy after what happened last season. And good, good. It's a good, humbling lesson. And you be mature like your team is being mature right now. Be mature
Mm.
fans and let this thing happen. You got two of the last champions trailing you by
Mm.
1 point and one by no points. So you best stay humble because this could turn. Their schedule is Arsenal has the toughest schedule, Liverpool has the second toughest schedule, and Man City has the easiest schedule. So it's still tough to tell. So let's go to talk about Liverpool. They got 71 points, same amount of points as Arsenal, except I think Arsenal got them on goal difference, right?
Yeah, 70. We're both on 71.
Yeah, both on 71. And
Arsenal had.
Arsenal have 75 goals, 24 against. Liverpool has 72 goals, 30 against. So goal difference of 51-42. And Liverpool went to Old Trafford today to play Man United. And Man United have been having they've been getting into some interesting games lately. Like, this ain't the time to be a Man United fan if you got a heart condition. It's like, hey man, they should need an EKG test before you should be allowed to watch a United game because anything could happen, you know. But only thing you know for sure is that something's gonna happen at the last minute of the game, and whatever the result is, it ain't gonna be that what it was before, you know. And we did it in the Liverpool game in the FA Cup uh, quarterfinals before the international break. Then we got into it with Brentford, where they battered us all game, and then we scored a goal in extra time, and then we couldn't hold on to that goal and that lead for 2 minutes, and then they won. Then we go to Chelsea, and they come to us, and they're up 2. Then we go up 3-2, and there's no time left in the game. Garnacho, and I want to ask you about this Chelsea game, right?
Mm.
So in America, we have a British broadcast team doing the game, right? So it's either Lee Dixon or Graham Lasso and somebody else, right? So I don't know who you guys had, but at the 90-minute mark, when we were up 3-2, Garnacho had been subbed out. They put the camera on him and they named him player of the game, right? So less than 8 minutes later, Cole Palmer's a hat trick and the game winner. Like, do they switch the play of the game? Like, who did they give the play of the game to in England? And is like I didn't get to see the post game stuff. It was Garnacho standing there with his trophy, and then somebody comes by and says, "Sorry, we got to give this to the real player of the match." And also for the Chelsea fans who are walking out of that stadium just because they want Pochettino to get fired, and they walked out disgusted. It's like, hey, it's Manchester United versus Chelsea. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Why didn't you expect a battle royal and for it to go back and forth? Like, what are you walking out in outrage for, Chelsea fans? Like, stay for the 8 minutes, see what's up. Yeah, you had a 2-goal lead, but like, what is this fake outrage? You're just trying to fire a coach that could be your savior next season. So, but back to the United game. Yeah, today we started out good and then it got rocky, and 15 shots to 0 on our goal. And I think our first shot was when Bruno scored that, like, that's the shot. That goal that Bruno scores, he doesn't practice that shit at home. He practiced that shit on the field during the middle of games and pisses everybody off all the time because it doesn't come off. And then this is one of those times where it does come off. It's like one of his passes where it's like it's going to be on a dime and Rashford is going to be on it or Garnacho, and it's going to be a one-on-one situation. That's what that shot was. And it's just the moments when his quality come out, it's just, you can't, like, I watched that goal, and that goal is a class goal, one of the best goals of the season. Just one time, let me do this now, no hesitation, and just pure form on that shot. And we make it 1-1. And then we start getting our confidence back and we start taking it to Liverpool. It's going back and forth, back and forth. And then shit, Mainu. It's funny because I watched a clip. There's this comic, Dale. He's Jamaican and he lives in America, but he's killing it on social media, but he's an Arsenal fan. So he's in England doing shows too. And he went on this podcast, a soccer podcast, because he's a really well-known Arsenal fan. And they're talking about United players and they're comparing them to when Arsenal thought they had some players. So they like Bruno is Ramsey. You know what I mean? And they're like, remember when we thought Walcott was going to be something? Mainu is Walcott. Like United got all these players that they think are going to be great, and they might just be failures. Like Arsenal went through the stage, but that was no Walcott today. All right, that was Mainu, and it was an amazing goal. Kambawala, like I got to be honest, when I saw him in the lineup today, I was fine with it because he's played some minutes here and there. And I was like, I think this guy's good. I want him to get more playing time. So it's one of the few times this season I was like, thank God for an injury so that we could play this guy. Sometimes Ten Hag will do everything to not play a young person who came through the academy and will die for this team. First of all, this motherfucker got pace. He got strength. He's got composure when he does win the ball. He can tackle people. And this was a big ass game. And he was trying to get the crowd into this shit and like hyping everybody up. Even when he made a mistake, he recovered from it just to show his pace. Like they had like a 4-on-2 and he streaked back into the picture to make it a 3-on-4 or 5. So, hey man, and I know I'm saying your name wrong, Kambawala, but I'm going to get it right by the end of your career. I'll say your name better than you because just keep doing what you do, man, and I will learn your name the correct way. So shout outs to him. Bruno's goal. Yeah, man, these last few games with Man United have been crazy in a good way, the worst way, and the best way, man. And today was one of them. And I'll take the point. I'm not going to be upset with Wan-Bissaka. Like everybody before the game, if United got 1 point out this game and it was a tie, they would have taken it. So I don't care how it happened. We got the point that we would have walked away from the game with. Like, just because you're up 2-1 against Liverpool, it doesn't mean you could have won it. It does not mean that. It just means you put yourself in position to get the point that you would have taken before the match. So I don't blame Wan-Bissaka for anything except don't ever do that shit again. All right? You had backup in the box. What the fuck were you thinking? That was crazy. But maybe if it was on his side of the pitch, he would have nailed it. But just unnecessary. What's your, and this is about Liverpool being second in the table, but they played Man United and we're why they're only second in the table. So what do you think?
I mean, just quickly on your point about the player of the match thing, going back to the Chelsea United game, like I think like I didn't see who they gave it to in the UK broadcast, but they used to give those out around that time before games started having 10 minutes of additional time. Like they used to give the player of the game out back when it was like 3 or 4 minutes maximum at the end of games since they brought the regulation changes in. So I think they might have to rethink that one and, and leave it a bit later because all these games now are having late stuff happening. But I mean, this United Liverpool game, I mean, Liverpool have only got themselves to blame considering, I think I read somewhere they had like 462 shots or something in 90 minutes. And
it was 500. It was 500,
and they still needed a penalty to draw level. So that's on them. But I was kind of sad to see Liverpool get a goal back because I thought that Mainu goal deserved to win a game. Like that goal doesn't deserve to be chalked back for a draw by a goal at the other end from the penalty spot. Like that goal deserves to win a game. That wasn't even an easy like curled shot where he's facing up the goal. Like he's facing almost back to his own goal and wrapped his foot around it. Like that's a real high quality finish. And that's like, something in his locker that he hasn't shown that much of so far. Like he had the crazy dribble against Wolves, which I think was an FA Cup game. Or was it a league game? I can't remember now. The one where he beat like three players.
That's a league game, yeah.
Yeah, it like beat like 3 or 4 players and then slotted it in. But this was a different type of goal than we've seen him score previously. So him showing off, another thing that's in his skill set. But I mean, still United just wide open, and I don't know how. Like I read a stat which was in your last 14 games. You've given up 308 shots.
That's it? I thought it was more.
Yeah.
So we're getting better. All right, cool.
But I don't know how a coach doesn't work on that and just fix that somewhat on the training ground after 14 games. Like, and you've been a little bit lucky because apparently after 14 games, if you give up 308 shots, you should be conceding. On average, you should be conceding about 2.5 goals a game, but you're only conceding 1.71. So, a combination of Onana playing well at times and just bad finishing from the opposition teams mean that you've kind of got away with it. Because I think, you've not actually lost like that many in those positions. And I mean, this season you've stopped Liverpool 3 times now.
Yeah,
they haven't beaten you.
Seasons.
Yeah. Which is progress considering, I remember the season before, me, you and Martin sat in your living room watching you get absolutely dismantled by Liverpool in that game. So that's an improvement of sorts. Although Liverpool probably had less shots in that game than they had in this one. They were just all kinds of bad in front of goal today. That was one Salah missed where the United fans all just cheered in sort of mocking tone when he was at the back post on that one. And I think Liverpool got themselves to blame. United took their chances when they came. 2 really high quality goals, like you say, the Bruno one, just the quick thinking as that ball came across to him to be like, right, I'm going to hit it like this so that it bends away from the keeper into that space. And without putting too much elevation on it, so I don't smash it over the bar, kind of thing. Like he did the science in his head in like a millisecond, and then executed it perfectly. Which, just it's the sort of thing he can do. And like I say, the Mainu goal, top quality. I mean, I enjoyed watching it from a neutral point of view, just because it was chaos, and some high quality goals. So. Yeah, but I think Liverpool will be kicking themselves that they're not still top of the league.
Yeah, even though Kwasa, I think that's his name, made a defensive mistake, that's to say he gave away a goal would be underestimating how difficult that finish was and how much work Bruno had to do after he intercepted that pass. And Mainu's goal, it's a type of goal where you think, what does Mainu do at night? Does he sneak into Old Trafford and draw lines down the pitch and across the pitch and then practice with a blindfold on taking shots from every box so that he can have a calculation of like power and accuracy for different types of shots and goals, because he did that with his back to the net. That was, there used to be a black superhero and he was blind, but he would just use his sixth sense. I think he was a Marvel. I forgot who. That's the type of goal he would score if he was a soccer player. You know, it's like you just use your blind sense because all your other senses have been enhanced. You know, but yeah, that's an amazing goal. We go to Man City. They're third. They got 70 points, and they pounded. They abused Crystal Palace.
They went behind though.
So what?
They went behind.
Yeah, they went behind earlier. That Mateta goal, like Crystal Palace took advantage of, like, just Man City's high line and pushing up the pitch. They got that player Mateta who's perfect to like play on the edge of the opposition's defense and like take advantage of, like, we just need to intercept one ball and get the ball to him and he can take on a keeper. And he scored in 4 minutes. But then he scored in 4 minutes, and then Man City scored four in a row. So I said, I'll raise your 4 minutes with four of our own goals, and then Eduardo got one back towards the end of the game to make it seem more respectable than it really was. But no Foden off the bench. It was just De Bruyne playing the role of De Bruyne, and Haaland got his. Haaland was weird. He didn't celebrate his goal really, which made me think it was like it came off the defender, but it was him. That was all his foot. Lewis got one. They played Oscar Bob and Lewis today, so they put their youngsters in. They got. When is the Champions League game? This weekend?
It'll be midweek if anything. Let me have a quick look at the fixtures. UEFA Champions League. Yeah. Real Madrid, Man City is Tuesday.
Yeah, so they're definitely like resting people, you know what I mean, and playing these kids. And Crystal Palace play City good at City. The last two seasons, and they've taken points off them. So I thought, all right, this could be a trap game for Man City. And but Man City like dealt with this game pretty easily. So they get their full points, and they're third with 70 points. Let's see, and they have the easiest schedule. So let's just talk about the top three. Do you have any idea? Any inkling, any feeling of how this shit's gonna go down at the end of the season?
I mean, we had a conversation, I think, around a similar time last year, or maybe slightly earlier. And I said, you know what? I got a feeling Arsenal are going to do it. And I've got that same feeling this year, but I feel like I shouldn't vocalize that because I'll put a hex on them. Like I say, even the Arsenal fans I know, they're not saying it out loud. I think they're thinking it, but they're not saying it out loud. I mean, I will just say, I think now Liverpool dropped some points and they've sort of opened the door slightly. I can see City just barging their way in.
Right.
Just because of the artillery they've got at their disposal, even though Haaland hasn't quite been firing in the recent games. He got back on the score sheet against Palace, but yeah, I don't know how much the Champions League will distract them, but I'm obviously, Arsenal are still in there. They got to play Bayern, who have been abysmal recently. They lost to Heidenheim at the weekend. But I feel like Harry Kane's going to be on a mission against Arsenal. So, and they've just got players who come alive in the Champions League, like Muller and Kimmich and people like that. So, yeah, we'll see who's going to get the bigger distraction. But like neither of them, it's games that they can switch off in. So they need to give their all every single time they step on the field at the moment because they're all big games. Whereas Liverpool, they're in the Europa League. Who did they draw in the Europa League? Is it Frankfurt or something?
I knew it too.
Let me have a
Atalanta.
look. Atalanta, yeah, that's it. Yeah, so Liverpool Atalanta, it's not quite as big an occasion, and I don't think it'll be quite as taxing for them as the other two teams. So maybe that will give them an edge. It's so hard to call. I mean, the fact that we got 1 point separating the top three
Right.
with what, 8 games left now? Let me just quickly click on the table.
9 games. No, 7 games. Am I terrible at math? Because it's 38 games, right? They're at
Yeah,
31.
38 in total. Yeah.
So they're 7 games apiece between the three of them.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah, 7 games left, and we got 1 point separating them. Like I said on previous podcasts, I hope that stays as tight as it is up. And if there's still 1 point separating that top three on the final day, that'll be a great final day. We get to
That's what I
see
want.
some fireworks. I want to see that one final day where, at one point this team thinks they're winning it, and then a goal goes in, and then this other, the next team are winning it, and then it changes a couple more times over the course of the afternoon, because that would be, yeah, that's the drama we all watch it for. Especially those of us who don't have a team involved at that end of the table. I want to see people put through the ringer. I want to
Yes.
see I want to see people get emotionally damaged from this title race. And yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, maybe Liverpool with that Europa League fixture, which they're probably not going to prioritise as much as they would the league, that might end up weighing slightly in their favour. But I still think, City and Arsenal, they got the sort of squads that can cope with that. So it'll be really interesting to see if they rotate much at all for the Champions League, because we said, like, Arsenal, they played on was it Wednesday night? They played Luton,
Can't remember when.
and they obviously left Saka out completely. I think it was
Right.
Wednesday. Yeah, they left Saka out completely. They brought Smith Rowe back in. He performed. So they chopped it around a bit then, as well, and they were fine. So, I mean, it was Luton, but yeah, I don't know how much they're going to change it around. But if someone made me bet on it right now,
Mm-hmm.
I would say City. I think, just because I think they've got the best squad pound for pound. But
They got
there's,
the easiest route.
yeah. But the fact that there's 1 point in it, it's so hard to call. There's a case for any of them.
Right. Right.
Um, Personally, I would rather see Arsenal win it, just because it's a different name on the trophy after so long.
Mm-hmm.
Just to freshen it up a bit. That would be my validation there, and I know a bunch of Arsenal fans as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know some Liverpool fans too, but it's, Klopp had the Carabao Cup. That can be his part and present.
That would be terrible. That would be terrible. I'm gonna say, hey,
You can have that in the Europa League.
That would be a letdown too. The Europa League. There was a point this season when I kind of forgot that Liverpool weren't in the Champions League for a minute, for a good portion of the season. I thought they were in the Champions League, and then I was like, oh, if he wins this Europa League, those fans ain't gonna be happy. That's Liverpool, even though they've gone so long without winning anything before he got there, But just going back to United for a second, we play like prostitutes. Like, we're just so open. It's just ridiculous. And you're right, we need to fix that. There's no way we should let teams run through us like that, or send out invitations for uh for orgies on our midfield and for people to just have their way with our midfield. So we got to fix that. And like you said, every week the coach looks at the footage, like the pre-game press conference when Eric Ten Hag was on. He was talking about the stats show from the last game, how we dominated, and he's talking about the Chelsea game, and I'm like, I don't know if I want somebody who sounds like that to be our coach. Like, he's a completely different guy.
Yeah.
Like than he was last season. Like last season when he spoke, you're like, that's a gaffer. This season, it's weird, man. It's weird. He's the only one that sees what he's saying.
Mm.
And there was a point when I saw a lot of what he was saying, but he's got to like leave these press conferences better than he's leaving them. This is not what happened, Eric. And like 10 games in a row, this is not what happened, fam.
Yeah. Just looking at the goal differences of the top teams. So Arsenal plus 51, Liverpool plus 42, City plus 40, Tottenham plus 20, Villa plus 17, and then you're -1.
But
so it's like the drop off. There's 18 goals between you and Villa in just one position. I mean, West Ham behind you on -4, but then Newcastle behind them on plus 13, and then you have to go all the way down into the bottom half to get another minus.
We've probably had 60 different back four combinations to that.
Yeah. Oh, the injuries are disgusting.
Yeah, and it's like where the goal difference is reflective of our defensive lineup. Like we'll get injuries. We'll have to change the back line in the middle of the game, and not one player. Sometimes two. You know what I mean? You know, like we have midfielders sometimes playing right backs or left backs. So it's for us, there's a big reason why we are where we are. And I know most people in football is like, nah, man, you still got to work through it. But now you need the players, bro. You do need the players. There's one more thing I was going to say about United, but I can't remember what it is right now. Should we go to Spurs? Spurs just beat Forest 3-1. I like that Forest equalized on them. And I was hoping that they could damage them. Not that I feel like United can catch them. Just because, just to see Spurs lose, and be able to call Martin, you know what I mean? Or just and talk to somebody whose head ain't in the clouds, you know what I mean?
Well, they almost did mess it up though. Like Chris Wood had a massive chance where Vicario made a save and the rebound came out to him. And Vicario got up again to make himself like an obstacle. But Chris Wood, like he just took a wild swing at it and cracked it off the outside of the post. It's like all you got to do is just lift it over the keeper there. Like have some composure, man. Come on. Like he scored a good goal not long before that,
right,
that he took first time. And then this one, he just lashed at it. And because it was either 1-1.
It was 1-1.
Or only, yeah, I think it was 1-1. That would have put them ahead. Like they got something to defend then. And then
I still
they
can't
got
believe
punished.
he missed that one, the one you're talking about. Like I'm still trying to do the math on what you'd have to do to hit that off a skinny pole, as opposed to in between a wide ass bunch of nets. Like you slow down, calm down, Chris. And he had one, or it was somebody else from the team in the second half where they could have went another goal up. It's like a header that went across the goal, but it was kind of like wide open, and they blew those chances and they paid for it. So Forest lose to Tottenham 3-1, and then Tottenham's fourth, like with 60 points. Speaking of blowing it, in fifth. Now it's tough to shit on a team that's ahead of you in the table, but Villa, what were you doing? What were you doing this weekend, Villa? Like, United, we have players that switch off for moments during the game. But Villa, who I would call in complete professionals last week, just because I think they played Wolves. And Wolves were trying, but Villa were just such professionals. I think they won that game like 2-0. And it just like, you could see the growth, in them. And then this week, they use their professionalism. They get 2-0 up against Brentford, and then just like decided the game was over by halftime. And then Brentford just came back and scored 3 goals. on them, like, and almost won this goal. And Villa had to like scrape this one out in the 80th minute with a Ollie Watkins tire. But yeah, Brentford, they and Brentford didn't even play uh what's his name? Ivan Toney until like probably 10 minutes into the game left in the game. So all the damage was done without Ivan Toney. And if I told you Brentford was going to go to Villa, be down 2, and then be up 3-2 with 80 minutes left without Ivan Toney, you're like, nah, that didn't happen. But that shit happened, fam. That shit happened. And if it wasn't for Ollie Watkins getting a goal in the 80th minute, Aston Villa would have 59 points as opposed to the 60 that they got now. So Villa's results been kind of shaky lately, you know,
Mm.
and maybe they're not as professional as I thought they were. They have injuries, but they got this one kid, Morgan Rogers.
Mm.
I got my eye on you, Morgan Rogers. This guy got a Yaya Toure vibe. He will shed defenders. He can dribble up that midfield, and he scored
Mm.
the first goal, I think, for Villa. And another thing where he's in the box, shaking off defenders, gets some space for himself, puts the ball past the keeper. And, this kid, England is just like the new players that are like identifying themselves every week to say, hey, man, I'm here too. Yo, I know you're looking at the Cole Palmers, the Mainus, and the this person and this, like even Winky this weekend, like the goal that he scored against Sheffield, but still you know they didn't win that game, but we'll get to that. But yeah, man, Morgan Rogers, everybody remember that name. If you can get some Morgan Rogers stock, buy that shit. What do you think
Yeah, that
about
was
Villa dropping
just a
that?
wild game. Your boy Lloyd got put through the emotional roller coaster on that one. And yeah, just a crazy game to watch. 2-0. You think Villa are comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like you say, Brentford, no Tony, but I think they are really benefiting from having Mbumo back
Yeah.
because he's only come back in the last couple of games and he makes a real difference for them. He's a nuisance in the box and around the box. And also, like, maybe you should have kept Regulion for a little bit longer as well because
Yeah.
he went back to Spurs, then he went out to Brentford and he got 2 assists in this game and he played a part in the other goal as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Villa were just woeful defending those crosses because, like, a couple of those goals, Brentford looked embarrassed to score them. Like one of them, the guy like hit it off his standing leg,
Uh-huh.
and he was kind of laughing as it went in. And like the volley and Mbumo scored, he sort of did so casually, like he executed it perfectly, but it looked really
Yeah.
casual the way he did it. I'm like a defender could have tried to do better there. And yeah, they were just a bit calamitous. And the one Visser scored as well, he was just wide open as it came into the box, and they did nothing to stop the crosses, and then nothing to deal with the players in the box as well. So a real, yeah, sort of self-destruct moment for Villa. But credit to Brentford for keeping going and plugging away and making those chances and making it happen, even though the defending was poor. Um, but then good resilience from Villa to go up the other end and Watkins to
Yeah.
want to jump highest and get above the keeper
Mm-hmm.
um, to head that one in because obviously Villa are playing for, they're trying to push for that Champions League place, but like Watkins is trying to push to say, I need to be the number 2 to Harry Kane at
Mm-hmm.
the Euros because there's stiff competition there with obviously Tony didn't get a chance to stake his claim this week. You got Solanke breathing down their necks as well. He didn't do much
Yeah.
this week, but there's a bunch of players in there who, yeah, will vying for that. I don't think it's set in stone with Southgate who his main backup is.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Kane will play those games, but someone's going to have to come off the bench, or if Kane gets injured, someone's going to have to play. And Watkins with this sort of performance is putting himself in that pole position to be the understudy. So we'll see what happens between now and the end of the season as to whether Tony's form picks back up or Solanke's or because I think he'll only take 2 with Kane. He won't take another forward. So at the moment, I think it's Watkins and Tony in whatever order that is. So yeah, it's interesting times in that position. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Villa get the Champions League spot just because again, it's something different.
Right.
I've seen Spurs in there. I take no joy from seeing Spurs in there. I want to see something else, but yeah, they're tied on points right now, both on 60 points, but Spurs have a game in hand. Villa up on 32. So they've only got 6 games left. So that one's going to be a tight one as well. It's a shame you guys aren't in that battle as well, because it'd be nice to have a 3-way battle for that spot as well.
Yeah, we're not even close.
Yeah, you've tailed off. So yeah, it's between Spurs and Villa, and I hope Villa can do it.
Yeah. The thing that I did forget that I wanted to say was it just came back and now it's gone again. Jesus Christ, that's crazy. But yeah, I didn't even realize based on what you were saying that this was the battle of the England backup 9. This Brentford Villa game, and definitely after the friendlies, like Tony had scored, so it felt like and he kind of moved ahead of Ali, and this was Ali's game to be like, man, Southgate. I bet you he called Southgate and said, "Hey, I'm playing this Saturday. Could you watch? Could you watch? I'm playing the guy that you might pick ahead of me. So we're going head to head. So check it out. You know what I'm saying? And tell me what you think. I'm not going to try to influence you on nothing, but I might have done some things. I'll email you the link so you could watch the whole game, just in case you didn't get to watch it on TV. I'm just saying, I might be what you're looking for. So yeah. Yeah, I was trying to one more time to remember what I thought of, but it's gone. It'll come back. And Man United were 6, 49 points. We got that 1 point today. And thank God we got that 1 point, because West Ham is 7th and they're breathing down our fucking necks. Like I said last week, we might not even finish 6. You know what I mean? There's teams behind us. There's West Ham and there's Newcastle. Newcastle's 2 points behind us. West Ham is 1 point behind us. And thank God Chelsea dropped points again, and they only have 44 points after going up ahead of Sheffield. But we talked about Man United already. Let's talk about West Ham. And I laugh when West Ham wins. But I'm gonna stop laughing when West Ham wins. Like I laugh when West Ham wins because I know the fans hate Moyes, but the more he wins, they can't get rid of him. But now it's not a joke no more, because now they're right behind us. So I have to switch to the Moyes out side of West Ham and hope for some Moyes out results. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't have this. He's a terrible coach, and y'all should just get rid of him because he's doing too good of a job, and he might take our 6th. So Man United is that. You know how embarrassing it is if you're a United fan and West Ham finishes ahead of you and knocks you down to the Conference League? It's a fireable offense.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's even if he won the FA Cup and West Ham catches and knocks us into the Conference League, Man United in a Conference League, a trophy that just was invented over 100 years after we've been in existence, that would be crazy. And I know it'll be a good competition to play some of our younger players in, but so would the Europa League. We're unhappy if we end up in the Europa League spot. Imagine if we end the Conference League. That'd be crazy. Me watching Conference League games on Thursday.
Yeah.
Taking time out of my life to watch Conference League games.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Ten Hag better crank this shit up because we can't have West Ham. Nah.
Yeah. Well,
But
it was looking like they were going to lose this weekend, though, until they turned it around. They were 1-0 down to Wolves. Then Paquetá scored the penalty to put them back, and then Ward-Prowse straight from the corner just whipped it. You know, he can do it from free kicks. He can do it from corners as well.
you're
All the way
always
in.
happy. You have that Southampton Ward-Prowse pride. So when he does
That's
something,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you know that's a goal for us when he puts one in. So you know, we're pretty depressing at the moment. So I'm taking any joy I can.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, West Ham is 7th. I feel like West Ham low key overall has a better team than Man United, better pieces. So we are lucky to be ahead of them, but there's enough games for them to get ahead of us. And when at the end of a season, the name West Ham is not supposed to be above the table of a team named Man United. And no disrespect, but I'm just saying. Newcastle, they're 8th. They got 47 points. Trying to remember who they played. So many games.
Fulham, they won 1-0 at Fulham.
Yeah. So they won 1-0 at Fulham. Fulham, thanks for not doing us a favor. Jesus Christ. We did Arsenal and Man City a favor. You couldn't do us a fucking favor, Fulham, and hold this team off. You couldn't do that for us. Jesus Christ. Don't ask for much. And it was at Fulham. Any thoughts on this? On Fulham letting Man United down?
Just rare to see Fulham not score these days. Like, you know, Muniz has been on form for them recently. You got like Willian and Iwobi supplying the bullets. I feel like they score in most of their games, but just didn't in this one. Let me.
It's a late winner too, 81 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was a defender who scored the goal. Was it Shah?
No, it was Guimaraes.
Was it Guimaraes? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, before that, they lost to Forest in the game before that, but they scored. They scored 3 against Sheffield United before that. They scored 3 against Fulham before that.
Yeah, and a bunch of times
Scored
they put
against
up some
Wolves before that.
fives.
Yeah, they've not scored since January. 30th
Right.
of January, they drew 0-0 with Everton.
I'll tell you one thing,
So
they scored
yeah,
against us. So how the fuck do you not score against Newcastle?
yeah, they not a great result for them, but yeah, Newcastle keeps them within touching distance of you guys, 2 points behind you.
Yeah, and these teams are in better form than us. I feel like they have better players than us, so it's going to be tough to hold them off, to be honest. So, yeah, this could get worse. Chelsea is 9th with 44 points. Did they play at Sheffield? They played at Sheffield, and I feel like Pochettino made a mistake today. They were up 2-1, and he made some subs. And the Mudryk for Madueke, I kind of understand because it's like kind of similar. Mudryk has been getting better, and Madueke just scored a goal. But the other subs he made those subs like this team at the bottom of the table is not gonna catch up with us. We're up 2-1. This game is over. So let me make these subs and get some people some run. And he has almost equivalent people to put in, but it kind of upset their chemistry. And then Sheffield just scores this goal out of nowhere. And again, if you're if you're a Chelsea fan, you're like off with Pochettino's head. You know what I mean? You're in French Revolution poverty rage. Like you want this motherfucker beheaded. You know what I mean? So Pochettino just, but I still say, give him another season, man. Like Chelsea's results are as immature as their team. And a lot of these results is because it's just a young, immature team with no experience. Like, you know how tough the Premier League is? It's the best league in the world, right? So Chelsea went and got all these players from all these other leagues and some of them from youth teams and put them in the toughest league in the world to start with no leadership around them. And they had to, and they put them in one of the best teams where there are the biggest expectations and they've ever faced in their life. And they're like, go. And it's like, this is what's going to happen, you know? So this is what's going to happen. Like most of these players never played in the Premier League before. Most of them never even were regular starters on their teams that they were bought from for the overpriced money that was paid for them, or had those price tags on their heads before. So, yeah. Any thoughts on Chelsea being ninth and only 5 points away from us? I think
They got a game in hand.
Oh, they got
Yeah.
a game in hand. Yeah. Shit.
It just must be hard being a Chelsea fan right now, and just you all you want is a game where it's just comfortable. Like you go up 1 or 2-0 or something, and then you just end up winning the game without being troubled. Because right now I feel like there's drama in every game they have. And sometimes it works out like it did against you guys. The drama went their way, but plenty of other times it hasn't. And this one it didn't. Obviously, conceding a goal late on to draw against statistically the worst team in the league. I know they've improved a little bit. They've got a little bit of fight in the last couple of games,
Right.
but they got their bottom on minus 52 goal difference for a reason. And yeah, I can understand why Chelsea fans are annoyed at not being able to put a team like that away. Frustrating. Chelsea, you never know what you're going to get, what sort of level of consistency you're going to get, which way the drama's going to go. So yeah, just really frustrating time, I think, if you're a Chelsea fan right now, because occasionally they just get these little flickers of hope, and then it just gets dashed. But if they can keep the core of that team together and build, like you say, I think Pochettino, as much as the fans hate him, like you said before, like what's someone else going to come in and do with this group? He's built up a knowledge of them over this season, even if it's not showing yet, but let him prove that next season. Obviously, if it's still a shit show by like Christmas next year, then yeah, fire him. But I think it's worth sticking with and seeing how it pans out, because they've got good players there. Like you say, Mudryk's shown flashes of it. Cole Palmer's quality.
Yeah.
And if Enzo and Caicedo can finally get it together, they're two quality players. They're just not really gelled in that middle yet, and figured out each other's game, I don't think, and figured out the team's game. Like they're both quality players. There's a reason why they cost so much money, both of them. They're just not really shown it yet. Caicedo as well, with the mistake he made in the United game midweek was
even though it didn't ultimately help us to get anything out of the game.
Well, he tried to help
you. You know what Chelsea is? Chelsea's like what it feels like to raise a teenager. That's how they play. Like if you're like some parents, if you never had kids, but you're a Chelsea fan, this is how difficult it is for parents to raise a teenager, because they're not kids anymore and they're not adults, and they're going to be erratic, and they're going to do some good things and they're going to do some bad things, and you got to figure out how to get them on the path to always do bad things without turning them off from you. So Pochettino's in that difficult situation. So I feel like, let Pochettino cook, Chelsea fans. Let the man cook. This is not the Abramovich, Chelsea team anymore. We were talking about Brighton earlier because they lost to, I think it was Arsenal at 3-0, and they're 10th and they got 43 points. And, they're doing good for a team with mad injuries. I haven't seen Matoma. I don't even know if Matoma's still with them. That's how long I ain't seen him play for Brighton. And he's devastating on the left wing and he creates havoc. But uh, there's so many of their players that's been in and out of their lineup. Like they're injured so bad that they play Lamptey, and I love Lamptey, but they for some reason De Zerbi has not been feeling Lamptey. So if he plays him, he's desperate, And that Lamptey did give away a penalty this weekend, but yeah, Brighton are 10th with 43 points. And even there, with 7 games left, they're within touching range of us. They're only what, 6 points behind us? That's two
Yeah,
games.
if they can put a run together,
Yeah.
before they run out of games.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Brighton?
No, I think like maybe they've not been as consistent as they would like, because I still think they're a really good team on their day, but they've just sort of lost that consistency. The way De Zerbi plays as well, because obviously the players there have limitations. He hasn't got a squad of stars, and some of the players can sort of step up and play that style consistency, and others can't. I think that's shown in the results, and you know, it'll be interesting to see if he does get plucked by a bigger club, and then to see if his style of play can work better with a bigger budget, with a more talented squad, whether that's at Liverpool or Bayern or even Barcelona, all these clubs he's been linked with. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he does get cherry picked off of Brighton. And if he does, who's next at Brighton? Does Potter go back there? Do they go for someone
That's interesting.
else? Yeah, like how does that one play out? And what does that do to Brighton? Because I mean, Southampton's shown that, you can have these highly rated players that are getting picked off by bigger clubs. You can have these highly rated managers who get picked off by bigger clubs, and then all you got to do is make, if you have a couple of wrong appointments, a couple of wrong transfer windows, it can go south quick. Which we found that out the hard way. So Brighton, I think there might always be a slight worry in their mind. They've got a good setup off the pitch. They've got succession planning there, to deal with players going and managers going, but they don't always work out. So yeah, it's we're a cautionary tale for clubs that operate on that sort of structure. But yeah, I mean, it's an ultra competitive league this year. They're behind clubs like Chelsea and Newcastle, who spent way more money than them.
Right.
So there's no disgrace in that, and having their midfield gutted out with McAllister and Caicedo going. So, all in all, I think they'll be slightly disappointed to finish lower than they have done previously if they do finish where they are now. But ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, with managerial turnover, player turnover, it's not a disaster for them. But, having had that little taste of European football this year and, played some big clubs like Marseille and Ajax and stuff, I think fans, when they get a taste of that, they want it more. And they have to go back to sort of resetting their expectations and maybe, not having European football next year, depending on how the next few games go, and just being sort of a bit of a boring mid-table team, to a certain extent, even though the way they play isn't boring.
I mean, I'm looking at them like it's funny because Chelsea's 1 point ahead of them, but they've also sold Chelsea a bunch of players. And all Chelsea did with the amount of money that they bought players, over 100 mil, and was get 1 point ahead of Brighton. For the Caicedo money and the McAllister money, and I can't tell if they might be somebody else. All they did was get 1 point ahead of Brighton so far. So all over 100, it took them over 100 and like 50 or 40 to be 1 point better than Brighton at this point in the season, and that's kind of hilarious. We got Wolves. They got 42 points. They're 11th. They lost today to. We just spoke about that.
West Ham yesterday.
West Ham yesterday. All right, so they're in 11th, and we did kind of talk about that game. We got Bournemouth. They're 12th with 41 points. Not bad. And that's another funny thing because Wolves has the Bournemouth coach, and he's 1 point better than his old team that fired him. That said, hey, we're gonna get a coach that's a better coach than you, so we're firing you, even though you saved us last season. So just that battle to see like, hey, the money you paid to to fire the coach is worth 1 point less to have kept him, you know. But these are good places for these teams, and they didn't spend. You know, these are good places for these teams. And Fulham is 13th with 39 points. Crystal Palace, they're 14th with 30 points. They lost to Man City. Everton won today. I know the football gods were rooting for Everton this weekend when they went up one early, and the way that they went up one early was like it's like
Yeah.
it's like Calvin Lewin turned into Darwin Núñez from midweek and blocked that goal into and then they got Burnley the red card, and I was like, because you're watching other games, and then the scores of other teams come up, and then halftime they show you the highlights, and then I was like, oh, God doesn't want Everton to go down. Like he's giving them the 3 points. They got the early goal and then the sending off in their favor. Even though Burnley was in the same situation last week when they went down 1 to Chelsea and they lost a player and they got back into that game, then went down and then got back into that game and left with a point. And they did better on the road. They did better on the road last week, a man down, than they did this week, a man down. But apparently, Burnley refuses to end games with 11 men on the pitch. They're on some 10-man shit. So maybe that's their thing. I don't know what's going on with them. But 2 weeks in a row they did that. So Everton, I'm happy for Everton that they scored in Calvin Lewin. He scored the type of goal you need to score to get back into things. I think he scored midweek or something, but I'm not sure. But he definitely need that. I'm just kind of running through this so we can get to Southampton and we can get to like just our thoughts on these Champions League games that's coming up. We got Brentford, got a point off Villa, 3-3, 29 points, tied with Everton. Crystal Palace is 1 point ahead of them. There's a big jump at 13 to 14. Like, you know, Fulham has 39, Crystal Palace has 30, Everton has 29, Brentford has 29, Forest has 25 points and they're 17th. Luton has 25 points and they're 18th. And Burnley has 19 points and they're 19th. And Sheffield have 16 points. They wish they had 20 points and they're 16th. I feel like Burnley and Sheffield are definitely going down.
Yeah, they're done. They're cooked.
They're cooked. Like the most Sheffield could do is move up to 18th. But you know what the problem with 18th? It's a relegation spot. They could play musical chairs in the eviction zone, but that's about it. Sheffield got that tie today versus Chelsea. Chris Wilder was happy about that, but yeah, and they've lost less terribly lately in the last few games because they were getting their ass whooped. It didn't matter who was managing them.
This is how bad they are. Like we were terrible last season. We finished bottom of the Premier League last season, and we had 25 points.
Damn.
We won 6 games. Sheffield United have only won 3 all season. They need to double their win tally in 31 games in the last 7 just to get to where we were last year, and we were bad. Like our goal difference finished on minus 37. They're on minus 52 already.
Holy
That tells you just how bad both Sheffield United and Burnley have been this season. But yeah, That's I just had to go and have a quick look and see. Well, I'm like, let's before I talk about just how bad Sheffield United are, let me just see how bad we were last season, and they're worse. So
That's funny.
yeah,
You as somebody who was relegated, you're just rubbing it in at the team that's going to finish in the place that you finished last season.
mm-hmm.
That's hilarious. Minus 52 is horrific.
Yeah,
16
yeah,
points,
it's
3
not
wins,
good.
21 losses.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's pretty horrific.
Yeah, that's pretty horrific. Burnley only has 4 wins and 21 losses, 7 ties. So Burnley has a game in hand.
Yeah,
And it's between Luton Forest, Brentford, and Everton. Still, Everton's going to face some penalty deduction this week. They're going to announce
potentially,
that.
yeah. And Forest have got stuff going on as well. They're appealing it, so it's all a bit of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you don't want a relegation battle to be decided by something like that, but it might come down to it. We'll see.
What if it's so bad that Sheffield survives?
I don't think it can get that bad. It physically can't.
Yeah, there's no math that will help that, you know. But yeah. I hope. I don't know what's happened with me and Everton, but I think it's Sean Dyche. I like him, and he's because Everton is a frustrating team. Like they would lose because they wouldn't play good. They wouldn't give it their all.
Mm.
And there would be the games that they gave it their all. This is the only manager in recent history that's made them win or lose, give their all. And I like it
Mm.
when I see a team give their all, even if they're at the bottom of the table. So we're in this segment. What does Southampton do? What's going on in the championship? You, you said you were depressed earlier. You hinted at it. So
Yeah.
tell us why.
So we recorded the podcast last week on the Sunday night. We had a game on the bank holiday Monday. I said I wasn't confident. We went and played Ipswich. We played really well for part of the game. We went 1-0 down really early, but we equalised within like seconds. We got it back to 1-1 straight away. Then we went and scored and went 2-1 up. And we were playing really well. We were dominating the ball. We were creating loads of chances at 2-1 up. Just chance after chance, missing them. And when it got to half time, I put an Instagram story up going like, oh, this is a big game for us. We're winning. We're controlling it. Watch us lose it. And I know my team too well. We ended up messing it up. We didn't defend well late on. We let them back in for 2-2. Then we had a player get a red card. Then they scored in like the 97th minute to win it 3-2. And that killed us in terms of if we'd have beaten Ipswich at Ipswich, that it was back on. We could have challenged for automatic promotion, but we lost that game and it messed us up because we had thrown away a lead on the Friday last week against Middlesbrough where we were winning 1-0 comfortably. Couldn't kill them off, missed a bunch of chances. They equalised late on for 1-1. So
Is there
just
any
been,
such thing as a 1-0 comfortably though?
as in like we were winning 1-0. They weren't really making any
You were in
chances. We were
control of the
dominating the
game.
ball. Yeah, but we just missing the chances to kill it off, which, if you do that with a 1-goal lead and you're not killing it off, then there's always a chance you could get bitten. And we always do this. We've been doing it all season. And this, so then comes into this weekend. Ipswich play an early game. They play Norwich, which is a big derby. They're both teams. It's the like the Suffolk, East Anglia derby out there, Norfolk, Suffolk kind of thing. And yeah, they don't like each other. Norwich won 1-0, so Ipswich took the loss. Still means that we can't really capitalise, but Leicester and Leeds could. Leeds lost. They lost to Coventry. But Leicester won. They beat Birmingham. So Leicester have gone back top of the league. And we played Blackburn away again, 70% possession, finished 0-0. We did nothing in front of goal. We were terrible. but we didn't concede for once.
Right.
We kept a clean sheet, which is the one small silver lining for us. But yeah, we've ran out of time to turn this around, and our form's just bad at the moment. If we'd have held on,
Aren't there like
if we'd have
98
won,
games left?
not quite. We still got a few, but I mean, if we'd have the double sort of game weekend last weekend over the bank holiday, if we'd have beat Middlesbrough and beat Ipswich, we would be in a great position right now, especially with the teams dropping points this week as well. But we fucked it for ourselves by drawing and losing last weekend, and then drawing this weekend as well just means we're completely out of that. It's not good. So we're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to be in the playoffs, which means I get my emotions toyed with again over those games because that's going to be brutal. I hate the playoffs. I've been through it before as a fan. Got knocked out on penalties in a playoff semi-final. The back in the day when we'd just been relegated from the Premier League and we tried to come back up, and yeah, it's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling, and I'd rather just go up automatically, even if it's boring in second place, without too much celebration because you haven't won the league, you haven't won the playoffs. Playoffs is like the best way to go up if you can win it. But the problem is it's you and 3 other teams. There's no guarantees. And normally, yeah, like Luton went and did it last year and no one expected that. So I'm not looking forward to the playoffs if it happens, but
I could tell.
I've had too much happen over the last few seasons to just make me pessimistic. So I'm setting my expectations low, and if anything better than that happens, it's a pleasant surprise. Otherwise, I'll just be sad and be like, "I told you so" when we get knocked out of the
playoffs. I feel you need to go before the playoffs. Go find a cardiologist and just they don't let astronauts fly into space until they put them to some rigorous testing to make sure that their hearts can take the test that they're about to endure. And if you're going to be in the playoffs, you need to seek the same medical attention to prepare yourself for this. Like, run on the thing with the mask on the treadmill.
You said I need a physical before I can watch any playoff games.
Yes, you do. You need a physical. You do, because it sounds like you're gonna need a physical based on how you just described it.
Yeah,
it's
horrible.
I need a physical to watch any more Man U games. Like, let's see who we got next, and I bet you that's gonna be up and down and crazy.
You got Bournemouth away. It's not the easiest game.
They beat us at United. They beat us at United, and they were better than us. So, like, yeah. Now, let me just go to Champions League. We ain't got no easy games, fam. It's just all rough. So Tuesday, Arsenal Bayern. We kind of spoke about this before. I don't know if anything's changed, but I put my money on Arsenal on this one.
Yeah, it should be. But like I said earlier, like Bayern have just got players who come alive in the Champions League. They've got players that have been there and done it so many times. They might be motivated to make up for the poor form in the league. Kane will be on a mission because it's Arsenal. He gets to play against his boyhood club again. The team he grew up supporting. But it's I mean, but if again, if someone said right, who's going to win this, you got to put money on it, I'd put money on Arsenal because I just think the form they're in. But I mean, they showed in the last round though against Porto, they don't want to do it the easy way. They made real hard work of that, and I'm not sure Porto are a better team than Bayern. So I don't think it'll be done and dusted after one leg. I think it'll be. I think Arsenal will do it, but it'll be tight. It won't be comfortable for them. It won't be nice for them. I think they'll have to grind it out.
Yeah, it's a big test. But it's funny. Even though this is a tough test in the middle of their last 7-game run to try to win the league, this tough test might give them confidence to win the league if they, you know what I mean? It might like boost them energy wise. Like they might like we just got
Yeah.
beat Bayern energy. Like we can beat anything. We could. So who we got in front of us in the Premier League? Like have y'all ever won the Champions League or treble in the Bundesliga? We just beat them boys. So that could like be the adrenaline shot, that asthma pump to like, they already on some asthma pump shit. You know what I mean? So who knows? But yeah, Arsenal all the way for this home game against Bayern. I'll deal with the second leg next time. Real Madrid, Man City at Real Madrid. I'm definitely rooting for Real Madrid. Will they win it? I mean, they're playing the goddamn treble champions and Haaland. They got everybody, so it's everybody versus everybody. Like
Yeah.
Real Madrid got a team, Man City got a team. I think I should look at La Liga and see where Real Madrid are in La Liga, but I think
Still top, I think.
still top, right? Don't they? When's El Clasico? Was that this weekend?
No, I don't think it's this weekend. But Real Madrid are top by 8 points right
8 points. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
so
gone. They're
they're
gone, girl.
comfortable.
Yeah, they're pretty comfortable. So you're basically the champs, Premier League champs from last season, playing the Premier League champs from playing the La Liga champs from this season. If I dare so project, you know what I mean. So who you got in this? This is difficult.
Yeah, it's it's a real tough one. Just because it's yeah, like I think City have got a deeper squad on paper. That I think they've got more pound for pound, like a better team, like from goalkeeper all the way through to the forwards. But again, like Real Madrid, you can't count them out just because of the old heads they've got, the players that have been there and done it before. And then they've got Bellingham on top of that. That's the thing I'm most excited about this game is I've said it before about just seeing how Bellingham steps up because this is the biggest game of his club career. I know he's played in big World Cup games for England, the last World Cup, but this is the biggest game of his club career right now. And let's see what he does because maybe the previous biggest game of his club career was when he played for Dortmund and they had that last day of the season last year against Mainz. All they had to do was win, and they messed it.
He was injured that game, I think.
He wasn't playing that
Yeah.
game yet. To be fair, I think I just remember that was
Yeah, if he'd have played, I think Dortmund would have won the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a big test for him just to see how he steps up because I think Real Madrid will be looking to him, and that's a lot of pressure to put on young shoulders. But every time he's had that pressure on there so far, he's delivered. Like he's scored in Clásicos, he's scored in other big league games for them. His goal scoring slowed down a little bit since the start of the season, but he's still a big player capable of big things. And yeah, just seeing how he does against City will be, I think, really fun to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm leaning more towards City.
I'm leaning towards City, but they're playing it in Madrid. The reason why I'm leaning towards City is because of what you said. Like Real Madrid has a lot of youth and inexperience, but they are players like on their way to maximize their potential. But then they have these old heads that are not in their prime anymore, but can definitely like help the young heads, and they're mixing it. Meanwhile, Man City has a team that's in its complete prime all the way through, from the starting 11 to the bench. Like, and they've won last year, but can they beat Real Madrid with the new infusion that Real Madrid got of players and their combination of old heads at the Bernabeu? Like, I'm not sure. This is gonna be difficult. This might be a tie. This is gonna be difficult, man. I can't call this. So we'll see. And then, the old heads, they get a burst of energy at moments like this too. Like they can have flashbacks to youth and play with that type of energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
Modric can pull out some crazy outside of the foot assist or goal or something, or
yeah,
Cruz can fire one in from 20 yards or something. Yeah.
yeah, and then you might pick up the energy of the people you're around, like the Valverde or Ibram or who's
Mm,
like really stepping up, and they're getting the future of Real Madrid is bright. I don't know if it's bright
mm,
enough for them to beat City, but we'll see. It's difficult. PSG Barcelona, that's on Wednesday. Definitely another like just fire ass match. It's at PSG. PSG rested Kylian Mbappe this weekend, and then they went down one. Then they had to put him in the game. I prefer teams, and it was a team
mm.
that they could have beat if they'd have started him. I
Yeah, I
don't.
think they're playing
A lot of
Claremont or something. Yeah.
yeah, Claremont, a train station. Like, how does a train station have a team? It's Claremont Street. Like, like how do you like nobody's ever heard of Claremont? This is the biggest thing that Claremont's probably ever done. Like, it's an English street in France beat PSG or made PSG drop points. That's crazy. But I don't know why teams don't start their starters, get the lead, and then take them out. Get the lead to the point where you know you can't lose, and then
Mm.
take them out. Like every time, a lot of times when teams like, oh, we're gonna bench our starters and start these, because PSG had some kids out there,
Yeah.
like orphans, like young as shit. Like I was like I saw their parents signing consent forms for the kids to play right before the game. The team was just young as shit, and it's like they could have just, you know what, fuck it, just don't put Mbappe in the game at that point and just lose it. I think PSG is so far ahead in the league that they didn't need to make sure they didn't lose this game. But I guess momentum is everything, so they got the tie. But just if you're gonna rest him, and then I'm gonna do what I did the last time: Atletico, Madrid, Dortmund. Eh. But what do you think about PSG, Barcelona? Barcelona ain't that good
Yeah.
right now. Let's just face it.
Yeah, I think it'd be an interesting one to watch just because it's, Xavi against Luis Enrique. They're old teammates.
Yeah,
Um, and
ex-coach
well,
Xabi.
Yeah, Xavi used to play for him as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to watch because they know each other's philosophies, they know each other's styles. Um, I think PSG would be the team I lean more towards just because I don't think Barcelona have got anyone on their team as good as Mbappe. Um, so that'll be interesting. And then I like some of the defenders on PSG. I think they can, like Skriniar is a top
mm-hmm.
quality player. Was for Inter. He played in the Champions League final before. Um, and yeah, I think him against Lewandowski will be interesting if Lewandowski plays. Um, but I just think PSG probably have a little bit of the edge, like I say, primarily because of Mbappe. But Barcelona can't be counted out; they got good players, so that'd be a fun one to watch. But I'm not looking forward to it as much as I am the other two.
One person I love as much on PSG as Mbappe. I love me a Dembele, and Dembele had a tumultuous and a great time at Barcelona, mostly
Mm,
tumultuous. So I know he's going to want to get them in that cauldron,
yeah.
you know what I mean, with the ultras cheering them on, and let Barcelona know and those fans what time it is, and it's not the Barcelona fans that, they didn't exactly embrace Dembele. It was a lot of it
Mm.
was his fault. It was all mutual, but he was injured a lot. But that guy, man, my God, both feet wide. Good luck. And yeah, he's gonna take some defending. So
Mm.
they can split you wide. And so yeah, I feel like even though Barcelona has Lamille, the 16-year-old, but I'm probably saying his name wrong. And they got some but Gavi and I don't think Pedri
Pedri,
have been fit in a minute.
yeah.
and they've been surviving without them. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But PSG and Xavi just coaching against the coach he won a treble with. You know, that's and like you said, they know each other's styles. That's going to be interesting. All right. And anything you want to plug or talk about?
Talking about Barcelona, I'm doing a show in Barcelona
What?
in June. Doing my hour in Barcelona, 8th of June. Ticket link up in the link tree on my bio. I've not started promoting it yet. I'll do that nearer the time, but it's there. Tickets are available. I'm gonna be out there for a couple of days prior to that, just doing spots and plugging it as well. And then Saturday the 8th of June, be running an hour out in Barcelona. It's a cool scene out there as well. I've been out there once before, just to see it quickly, and then going back out for a little bit of an extended stay. So that'll be good fun. I fly out to New York on Thursday. I'm going to post about that this week. I've got 3 shows in New York. So if there's anyone listening based out that way, come out to one of those. And then I'll be in Austin after that. So I'm in New York Thursday to Sunday, and fly to Austin on the Sunday, out there for a week, or just over a week. So I'll be traveling around quite a bit the next few weeks.
I must say, Lee be living the life. Do English people even stay in England? Like this is like y'all just be like, let's go visit the places our ancestors colonized, and or let's go visit the places that it's like just like English people, explorers from back in the day, they just never wanted to stay there. Like, you from here, but we gotta go see some other shit. And
Hey,
now,
you've seen our weather and our food. That's
no,
the
no,
only
I
reason
know,
we did
and that's the reason.
it.
Like, I was talking to Jesus today, another comic. Like, if God had just made oregano available in England, the world would be so different. Like, if they had like some spices that they didn't have, they wouldn't have traveled to find better food. They would have just seasoned their own shit and stayed on their island. But y'all didn't have Scotch bonnet, so y'all went out to go find it somewhere else, halfway across the world, to other places. But yeah, you were getting out there. And who you staying with in Austin again?
Lucas from the
Lucas, because I
mothership.
ran into him when
Yeah,
I just did the mothership last
yeah,
weekend. And I told him, yeah. So yeah, I said, Lee's coming out here, right? Yeah, he said, yeah. So I saw him at the mothership.
nice.
For me, I gotta start promoting these shows. So I'm gonna be at, see, as usual, I got my shit not together. Find a fly. It's not there. It's not there.
How were the mothership shows?
Pretty dope. Like, I haven't been on the road. I've been in town, so I don't get to do an hour a lot. But on Friday during the day, I spent my time working on it a lot, and it paid off because I got a lot of confidence from the first show, and I did an hour right away. Remembered most of the stuff, messed some stuff up, but then second, third, fourth show, I was just like, and the crowd was just, they're a comedy educated crowd. They came to have some fun, so you could just perform, and I did a lot of things. Yeah, I grew a lot within the hour, and it was fun to do while I was there. And then I stayed and did Kill Tony, which is not out yet, but that episode was wild. It was wild. So when that comes out, Jesus Christ, I was rolling. Let me see. I got Hotel Cafe for the Netflix is a Joke comedy festival that's in Hollywood. And May 12th, I'm going to be at the Hotel Cafe. And so I post that in my stories every day with the ticket link. And I got La Jolla coming up. I got some other shows coming up. So I got to organize those and post those. So just keep following me on at Ian Edwards Comic on Instagram and on Twitter. And yeah. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. We appreciate y'all. Got a lot of comments and stuff this week. Some people were trying to get at Alex. They said you should never have, somebody was like, you should never have
City are not popular.
City fan on your show, right? What do you but Alex has a legit reason why he's a City fan. You know what I mean? And he was a City fan before they got the money, I think. You know, he's a City fan because he's Mexican and there was a Mexican player that played for City. You know what I mean? So he says, you know, but I believe it. But it's funnier not to believe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people are going to do a deep dive now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, person who said that, that's what he told me. All right. All right. We love you. Be good. Enjoy your sports. And me and Lee are going to go find a cardiologist.